Hello everyone and welcome to your weekly dose of Truth Tarot. This week we're looking at the 3rd of April to the 7th of April, right? 3 plus, yeah, okay. So today I decided to look at empathy. So this video is really for those who are empaths. And we're looking at some of the things like what's going on with the planets, with solar flares when they come up, transition of the season, the moon. Obviously, the moon is part of, the planetary bodies, and also there's supposedly a comet coming that we're going to see, a bunch of sparks in the sky, pretty big ones, and I think they've already started. And all of the changes, like the possibility that we're living in a simulation. I mean, I don't really doubt that we're living in a simulation, though the meaning to me might be different than the computer meaning, etc. So one of the things that I've noticed is it's way harder to predict global future. So I just want to see, is that something that's going on in this period of time? Harder to predict the global future. So 7 of Wands. Definitely there's valor to that question, right? That's an answer that says, well, yes, that is definitely there. It's harder to predict the future. Now, I've always said that tarot is not meant for predicting the future. It's not really meant for, doing these yes/no things. But sometimes I use it to validate my intuition, and also to check my intuition, because if this had said no, it's not harder to predict the future, or maybe the future is even unpredictable. I mean, I used to, know pretty much what was going on, and I've got kind of a blank into the future. If I'm looking at, total destruction, or I'm looking at this, that, and the other thing, I'm really not seeing it. So that is strange to me. That is strange. You know what? I'm just thinking that I heard somebody else say this a while back. I think that was Scott Adams. He had mentioned that he could see the future as well, and he's just getting nothing. So yes, I am too. So I've noticed this for quite a while, but I put it down to maybe because I was ill, or maybe because, stress factors, etc. But now I decided to ask the cards with you guys around, with all of you. So now the next thing is, we're living more, if we're not able to predict the future necessarily, there's nothing, it's blank out there. Let's say, I could be wrong, of course, we could all say that, but I have to rely on myself because I've usually been quite right about things. Now, short term, there's definitely the possibility of predicting like 2-3 days. But apart from that, everything else looks, I'm talking about really global, like what's happening down the road. I'm not necessarily talking about, the probabilities or possibilities. Like if you put a certain set of conditions together, you can predict a certain possibility that will probably occur. Like if I take this card right now and I hit it, I throw it, it'll probably fall right off this counter, right? Sure, we know that that's possible. Unless for some weird reason it gets caught up somewhere, there's a little rough spot right here, so maybe it'll get caught and doesn't go over. But those things, if you know them all, they're highly predictable. And if we know the speed at which I'm going to toss the card, oops, I just tossed it, now I have to go get it. So we know that it's not going to be blocked enough to not go off the edge. So sure, we can predict those things. Even a person's behavior. If a person has acted a certain way in the past, very highly likely they'll continue to act that way. So bringing all of those, I mean, there are other parameters here. I'm just listing a few. So it's not a whole boring talk on all the different parameters of telling the future. You probably have your own. What I'm looking at is, what happens to the empath in this situation where the future is unknown and the present tends to bring a lot more, let's say, pressure into the empath. So I'm looking at that and I want to know how to take care of that. So those of you who are empaths, this is really only a review for empaths who are feeling very strongly what's going on with the world, what's going on with people. And in as much as that is occurring, there is a stressor going on within the empath. I'm not covering the intuitive, I'm not covering the psychic for the moment, okay? That's going to be a little bit different, even though I brought up those aspects, because the empath is the one right now who needs a little bit of protection and grounding. So what are we going to do about that? So the Eight of Cups being the first card that rises to the surface here, and this is indolence. So that'll mean it's no time to be lazy, but it's a good idea to pull away. Second thing we can do, the King of Pentacles. So the King of Pentacles is the masculine. So we may need to, this is giving us I'm saying may because not everyone's going to do the same thing or feel the same way, but ensuring that we're not insolent, that's going to be massive self-awareness, using our masculine qualities, right? The masculine to help us. So, if you're female in a partnership with a male, actually it doesn't matter if you're male in partnership with a male, it doesn't really matter which. You could lean on your male counterpart. That's the most obvious solution, which I tend to do. I lean on my partner for his masculine energy, his strong energy, his ability to make sure I don't go too deep down into the rabbit hole, because that feminine and that empathy can do that. So I can get drained, I can get overtaxed, I can kind of lose, connection with the sun and the sky, meaning I'll just get so deep in the rabbit hole, I'll just want to hide out, get under the covers, and not see the world. And the masculine can really help to bring you out so that you're, balanced, or finding a better balance between the two. That also means that watch out for being outside too much. Right, so this can also be make sure that your masculine is not too active during these times. All right, so I'm referring to this week. I'm referring to this week and the effect of planets, the effect of the sun, the effect of the poles, the effect of solar flares on our systems as empaths. So one of the other cards, let's see the third one. Let's do a nice third one here. And the third one is 10 of Wands. Whoa. Okay, that's not so great. That really tells us that all of these things are impacting us in a very, very stressful way. That is fire gone awry. It pressures us, it oppresses us. So we do have to watch out that all of the things we're experiencing in the outside world, in the masculine, in the world where we go out and we're active, can be very oppressive to the empath. So I would say what we need to do is the opposite to these things, is be careful not to go too deep in the rabbit hole, but also make sure you get to see the sun. But at the same time, that doesn't mean go and pressure yourself to go out there and be in the world and go to, most empaths will agree with me, the most hated thing for an empath to do is to go to a shopping mall, to go shopping, to go to a concert. Those things are very, very taxing on the empath. So there we go. There's a little very specific reading for all of us empaths. So have a great week and take care of yourself. Bye.